an impressive, elephantine giant with a robust body plan, roughly the size of a modern Asian elephant. It is defined by a narrow, remarkably elongated lower jaw housing two flattened, shovel-like teeth. Its thick, sparse skin shows a weathered mud tan or charcoal slate wash, blending seamlessly into the background. A hardy and adaptable browser, it patrols the subtropical shrublands, dynamic floodplains, and rich woodland networks of ancient North America. Using its elongated, scoop-like lower jaw alongside a muscular trunk, it expertly dredges up marshes and strips low-lying shrub vegetation on solid ground. Its massive, pillar-like legs drive a slow, heavy graviportal quadrupedal stride between seasonal water sources. It travels in tight-knit matriarchal clans, maintaining quiet foraging patterns but communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles and sharp nasal snorts. Closely mirrors Platybullidin in lifestyle and general anatomy. It is best distinguished from Platybullidin by the internal structure of its lower shovel tusks, which are concentric rather than tube, meaning they are less adapted for handling heavy abrasion and massive loads. It is geographically separated from its Afro-Eurasian cousins like Protonanchus maconesi and Pichingensis by its strict North American range. A massive, elephantine giant with a robust body plan, roughly the size of a present-day Asian elephant. It is defined by a narrow, remarkably elongated lower jaw housing two flattened, shovel-like tusks. Its thick, wrinkled hide likely shows a dusty mud tan or charcoal slate wash. A dedicated browser, it actively patrols the shrublands, open riverine woodlands, and lush gallery networks of ancient East Africa, centered heavily around prehistoric Kenya. Using its specialized shovel-like lower jaw alongside a muscular trunk, it crops soft plant material, leaves, and shoreline vegetation on solid ground. Its column-like pillar limbs drive a slow, heavy quadrupedal stride through thickets. Small maternal clans move together, maintaining a quiet presence under cover but communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. Closely resembles Platybullidin in lifestyle and general look. It is best distinguished from Platybullidin by its concentric lower tusk structure, which lacks specialized tubules and is less adapted to withstand heavy loads or abrasive forces. It differs from the contemporary Protonanchus barnumbroni by its restricted African range. A massive, specialized amoebilodontid giant built on the scale of a modern Asian elephant. It is defined by a narrow, remarkably elongated lower jaw housing two flattened, shovel-like tusks. Its thick, wrinkled skin is colored a dusty charcoal slate, or earth tan wash. Highly adapted to open marshlands, it is a persistent resident of the subtropical shrublands, dynamic floodplains, and lush gallery forest networks of ancient Africa. An opportunistic browser, it utilizes its elongated jaw alongside a flexible trunk to dredge up lake beds, scoop aquatic plants, and gather low-hanging vegetation. On solid ground, its column-like pillar limbs support a slow, heavy quadrupedal stride along muddy banks. It moves in cohesive maternal clans, keeping a quiet presence under the canopy, but communicating via low, deep throat rumbles. Frequently overlaps with other shovel tuskers. It is easily separated from Platybullidin by its concentric lower tusk structure, which lacks specialized dentinal tubules, and is less adapted to manage extreme loads or highly abrasive foraging forces. It is best distinguished from its direct generic relative Protonanchus maconesi by its younger evolutionary placement, as one of the last surviving members of its lineage in Africa. A massive, heavy-set shovel tusker built on the scale of a present-day Asian elephant. It features an elongated skull, a short muscular trunk, and a narrow, remarkably extended lower jaw housing two flattened, blade-like tusks. Its thick, wrinkled hide shows a dull slate gray or mud tan tone. It is a defining and highly persistent resident of the subtropical gallery forests, monsoonal shrublands, and swampy river basins across the Indian subcontinent, patrolling the ancient floodplains of the Siwalik Hills. An active browser, it drafts its long mandible through soft wetlands and shoreline undergrowth to scoop up aquatic vegetation, leaves, and twigs. Its column limbs drive a steady quadrupedal stride along muddy flats. Matriarchal clans move in small herds, remaining quiet while foraging, but communicating via deep, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. Strongly mirrors the lifestyle of Platybullidin. It is best distinguished from Platybullidin by its concentric lower tusk architecture, which completely lacks internal tubules and is less adapted for extreme loading or high abrasion foraging. It is uniquely separated from other species of its genus by its strict geographic confinement to the late surviving Siwalik horizons of South Asia, where Platybullidin is completely absent. A large, primitive ancestral proboscidean featuring a robust, elephantine frame and an elongated facial layout. Its thick, wrinkled skin displays a dusty mud olive, or charcoal slate wash, allowing it to dissolve into forest edge shadows. It carries ancestral precursors to shovel-like lower tusks adapted for cropping low vegetation. A specialized browser. It is a characteristic resident of the tropical gallery forests, rich riverine valleys, and lush woodland savanna networks across ancient Africa. Highly focused under the canopy, it uses a flexible, muscular trunk to harvest branches, soft fruits, and leaves. On solid ground, its steady pillar limbs drive a slow, deliberate quadrupedal stride through dense thickets. It travels in small, cautious family bands, remaining mostly silent while foraging, but communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. Overlaps in habitat with other basal elephant relatives. It is best distinguished from Gomphotheriidae by its lower slung silhouette and unique amoebilodontid-like jaw tendency, and from more advanced downstream shovel tuskers like Protonenchus by its less extreme mandibular specialization and smaller overall body proportions. A medium-sized ancestral shovel tusker with a robust, low-slung frame, weighing about 2.3–3.5 tons and standing smaller than a modern elephant. It features an elongated skull profile, a highly functional, well-developed trunk, and a flattened lower jaw symphysis equipped with shovel-like tusks. Its thick, sparse skin shows a dull slate gray, or pewter tan wash. A highly adaptable browser, it is a characteristic early resident of moist woodland forests, rich riverine valleys, and lush gallery tracts across ancient Europe. An active forest folivore, it uses its powerful trunk to secure branches while its flat lower jaw acts as an efficient scoop to gather soft leaves, twigs, and wetland plants. On solid ground, its steady, graviportal column legs drive a deliberate quadrupedal stride through thickets. It travels in small maternal bands, remaining quiet under cover but communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. Functionally behaves like later amoebulodontids. It is easily separated from contemporary Gomphotheriidae by its much flat-sided, more distinctly shovel-like lower tusk layout. It is best distinguished from its direct evolutionary descendants, such as Platybulodon and Amoebulodon, by its more primitive, less extremely broadened mandibular shovel frame, and from its African generic relative Archaeobulodon tassii by its strict restriction to European Miocene horizons. A medium-sized ancestral shovel tusker with a robust, low-slung torso, massing about 2.3–3.5 tons and standing smaller than a modern elephant. It is defined by an elongated head, a highly muscular trunk, and a flattened lower jaw symphysis housing scoop-like tusks. Its thick, wrinkled hide shows a dull clay olive or mud tan wash. A specialized browser, it is a characteristic early resident of the lush subtropical gallery forests, monsoonal shrublands, and rich estuarine delta networks of ancient North and East Africa. Highly active under the canopy, it uses its flexible trunk alongside its flat lower jaw to expertly shovel wetland plants, soft twigs, and foliage. On solid ground, its pillar limbs drive a slow, steady quadrupedal stride through thickets. Small maternal clans move together, maintaining a quiet presence but communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. Functionally mirrors later amoebulodontids. It is easily separated from contemporary African gomphothers by its flat-sided, shovel-like mandibular layout. It is best distinguished from its direct evolutionary descendants, like Platybulodon, by its more primitive, less extremely widened lower shovel frame, and from its European relative Archaeobulodon filthily by its strict Afro-Arabian regional containment. A robust, primitive elephant-like giant characterized by an elongated skull, a highly mobile muscular trunk, and a shortened, narrow lower jaw symphysis bearing flattened mandibular tusks. Its thick, wrinkled hide likely shows a dusty mud tan or stone gray coloration, allowing it to fade easily into forest shadows. It is a specialized basal resident of humid open woodland forests, rich riverine corridors, and dense floodplain networks across ancient East Asia, particularly within prehistoric China. An active forest edge browser, it utilizes its unique shovel-like lower tusk arrangement to scoop up low-lying vegetation, soft leaves, and twigs under open canopies. On solid ground, its steady, graviportal column limbs drive a slow, measured quadrupedal stride through thickets. It travels in small maternal bands, maintaining a quiet presence but communicating with deep, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. Frequently shares habitat with early long-jawed browsers. It is easily distinguished from members of the genus Gomphotheriidae by its flattened, scoop-like mandibular tusks and basal amoebulodontid skull features. It is best separated from the related genus Protonenchus by its much shorter, more ancestral lower jaw structure, and from its chronospecies successor Seguzoia waimani by its older presence restricted to early Miocene layers. A robust, primitive elephant-like giant characterized by an elongated head, outward-pointing upper tusks, a highly mobile trunk, and a shortened, Narrow lower jaw symphysis housing flattened mandibular tusks. Its thick, wrinkled hide shows a weathered earth tan, or mud-brown wash, helping it blend into brush edge shadows. It is an active resident of humid open woodlands, rich riparian tracts, and dense floodplains across ancient East Asia, particularly centered within prehistoric China. An adaptable browser, it roams riverine valleys to strip leaves, woody twigs, and soft fruits, using its specialized, scoop-like lower tusk configuration to lift and collect low-growing vegetation. On solid ground, its graviportal pillar limbs drive a slow, measured quadrupedal stride through thickets. It travels in small maternal bands, maintaining a quiet presence but communicating with deep, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. Frequently shares its Miocene habitat with early long-jawed browsers. It is easily separated from members of the genus Gomphotheriidae by its flattened mandibular shovel tusks and ancestral amoebilodontid skull setup. It is best distinguished from the related genus Protonanchus by its much shorter, more primitive lower jaw layout, and from its direct ancestral chronospecies Seguzoia brevirostris by its geologically younger presence, extending into the middle Miocene horizons of China. An elegant, intermediate shovel tusker with a robust, elephantine frame and an elongated facial profile. It carries a highly dexterous, muscular trunk alongside a distinctly elongated lower jaw symphysis that houses flattened, blade-like mandibular teeth. Its thick, wrinkled hide shows a dull slate gray or pewter wash, providing excellent concealment within forest edge shadows. It is a specialized resident of humid woodland forests, subhumid gallery plains, and lush riparian river valleys across ancient North America. An active, low-level browser, it roams alluvial basins to feed on a strict C3-based diet of woodland fruits, tree cortex, soft herbs, and fresh canopy leaves. On solid ground, its graviportal pillar limbs drive a slow, measured quadrupedal stride through dense thickets. Small maternal clans travel together, keeping a quiet presence under cover but communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. Closely mirrors the ecology of contemporary long-jawed browsers. It is easily separated from members of the genus Gomphotheriidae by its specialized flat-sided mandibular shovel layout. It is best distinguished from its direct evolutionary cousin Amoebilodontid by its more generalized skull morphology, and from its sister species Cerbulodon burnhami by subtle variations in its lower tusk crown widths and its strict regional distribution within central North American Miocene horizons. A distinctive, intermediate shovel tusker with a robust, elephantine frame and an elongated head layout. It is characterized by a highly prehensile, muscular trunk paired with a long lower jaw symphysis that carries flattened, blade-like mandibular teeth. Its thick skin displays a dark slate gray or pewter wash, providing camouflage under canopy layers. A specialized browser, it is a characteristic resident of the humid woodland forests, coastal valley systems, and open riparian tracts of ancient North America, restricted strictly to prehistoric California. An active, low-level folivore, it roams alluvial flats to feed on a strict C3-based diet of soft forest fruits, tree cortex, herbs, and fresh leaves. On solid ground, its steady graviportal pillar limbs drive a slow, measured quadrupedal stride through thickets. It travels in small maternal bands, maintaining a quiet presence under cover but communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. Closely mirrors the general anatomy of contemporary long-jawed browsers. It is easily separated from members of the genus Gomphotheriidae by its flat-sided mandibular shovel configuration. It is best distinguished from its close relative Amoebilodontid by its more generalized skull morphology, and from its sister species Cerbulodon barborensis by subtle variations in its lower tusk crown widths and its strict regional distribution within Californian Miocene horizons. A highly bizarre, elephant-like giant characterized by an absolute absence of upper defensive weapons across both sexes. It features a long skull and an extended lower jaw with flattened, shovel-like mandibular teeth used to dredge wetlands. Its thick, wrinkled skin is a dull mud tan or stone gray. Widespread in age-diverse nursery herds, it is a characteristic resident of humid open forests, lush river valleys, and changing riparian basins of ancient East Asia, native strictly to northern China. An active browser, it uses a flexible trunk alongside its flat chin to scoop up low foliage and soft twigs. On solid ground, its steady pillar limbs support a deliberate graviportal stride through thickets. Highly social clans protect vulnerable calves, communicating under cover via deep, chest-vibrating throat rumbles and sharp nasal snorts, readily separated from contemporary Gomphotheriidae and other relatives by its completely invisible upper tuskless snout layout. It is easily distinguished from giant Dinotherium by its straight, forward-projecting shovel mandible rather than a downturned hook jaw profile. and from true Platybullidon by its unique facial architecture. The undisputed giant of its specialized genus, standing a massive 2.4 meters at the shoulder, and weighing roughly 3.5 tons. It features a highly specialized, elongated spoon-shaped lower jaw with unusually broad, flat incisors lined internally with tubed dentin to balance severe wear. Its thick skin shows a weathered mud tan, or stone gray coloration. It is a dominant indicator of ancient open landscapes, patrolling the arid savannas, grassy seasonal plains, and woodland margins of prehistoric East Asia, native to western Mongolia. An active browser and extensive grazer, it uses a muscular trunk to secure woody branches or grass clumps, drawing them against the razor-sharp front edge of its lower shovel tusks to slice vegetation like a scythe. Its surprisingly light postcranial bones support a highly agile, pacing quadrupedal gait over hard soils. It travels in large matriarchal herds, communicating with deep, chest-vibrating throat rumbles, easily separated from non-Amebelodon proboscideans by its shovel-jawed profile. It is best distinguished from the related P. donovi and P. graingeri by its vastly superior body mass proportions, unique malar architectures, and its strict geographical confinement to the Middle Miocene horizons of western Mongolia. A highly specialized, relatively small elephant-like browser featuring a flat-fronted facial skeleton and a classic, spoon-shaped lower jaw built for precise harvesting. It is equipped with a versatile trunk and lower shovel tusks containing microdentin tubules to endure continuous wear. Its thick, wrinkled hide likely shows a dusty mud tan wash. A flexible generalist of arid trending biomes, it actively patrols the open savanna parklands, shrubby river banks, and changing valley margins of ancient East Asia, native to western China. An active grazer and canopy browser, it relies on its trunk to hold plants taut while using the blade-like front edge of its lower jaw, like a scythe to clean slice vegetation. On solid ground, its light postcranial bones support a highly agile, pacing quadrupedal stride. It travels in maternal family groups, communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles, readily separated from generalist Gomphotheriidae by its scoop-like jaw setup. It is best distinguished from the massive P. bullidjae and P. graingeri by its much slighter, more compact body mass frame and narrower malar parameters, and from P. donovi by its specific distribution within late Middle Miocene deposits of northwestern China. A remarkable, relatively small shovel tusker presenting a flat, wide facial frame and a lightly built, agile skeleton. It is characterized by an elongated, spoon-shaped lower jaw with a slender symphysis, and flat lower incisors containing microdentin tubules. Its thick skin bears a weathered sand slate gray wash, an active indicator of highly open ecosystems. It patrols the grassy parkland savannas, sun-baked plains, and riverine borders of ancient Eurasia, centered around the North Caucasus and western China. An opportunistic mixed feeder, it uses a muscular trunk to grasp branches while its blade-like lower tusks cut vegetation like a scythe, stripping bark from trees and slicing through grass. Its feet display an unusual standing posture, supporting a relatively quick, pacing quadrupedal stride. It moves in dimorphic matriarchal herds, communicating undercover via deep, chest-vibrating throat rumbles, readily separated from generalist Gomphotheriidae by its signature scoop-jawed silhouette. It is best distinguished from the massive P. bullidjae and East Asian P. graingeri by its much more slender mandibular symphysis and smaller overall body mass frame, and from P. dangiensis by fine-scale malar architectures and its specific geographic restriction to older Middle Miocene layers. A spectacular, lightly built shovel tusker with strong sexual dimorphism. Females stand 180 centimeters at the shoulder and mass 1.5 tons, while dominant males reach 220 centimeters and weigh 2.7 tons. It features a wide, flat-fronted skull and an immense, spoon-shaped lower jaw housing flat incisors embedded with microscopic dentin tubules. Its thick skin is a weathered sand slate gray. It actively patrols the drying open parkland savannas, riverine borders, and shifting plains of ancient Central and East Asia, centered in Mongolia and northern China. An active mixed feeder, it uses a muscular trunk to secure woody branches or grass clumps, clean slicing them vertically against its blade-like lower teeth like a scythe. Its light limbs support a remarkably agile, quick-pacing quadrupedal stride. It moves in large matriarchal herds, communicating with deep, chest-vibrating throat rumbles, readily separated from generalist Gomphotheriidae by its scoop-jawed profile. It is best distinguished from the related P. donovi by its much wider, heavier, and robust mandibular symphysis profile, and from P. bullidjae by its smaller overall body mass dimensions. A highly advanced, specialized shovel tusker with a robust but lightly contoured elephantine body plan. It is defined by an elongated, Spoon-shaped lower jaw with a deep, wide mandibular symphysis housing massive flat tusks, lined internally with tubed dentin to manage heavy abrasion. Its thick, wrinkled hide is a weathered slate gray or pewter wash, a late surviving indicator of opening biomes. It actively patrols the semi-arid parkland savannas, sun-baked plains, and seasonal river basins of ancient East Asia. An active grazer and forest folivore, it uses a muscular trunk to hold branches or grass clumps taut, clean slicing them against the razor-sharp front edge of its lower shovel tusks like a scythe. On solid ground, its unique foot anatomy supports a remarkably agile, quick-pacing quadrupedal stride. It moves in large matriarchal herds, communicating via deep, chest-vibrating throat rumbles, readily separated from generalist Gomphotheriidae by its scoop-jawed profile. It is best distinguished from the older P. donovi and P. tonxinensis by its more complex, higher ridged cheek teeth containing 4 pairs of cusps rather than 3, and from P. graingeri by its strict evolutionary restriction to the latest Middle Miocene deposits of northern China, a highly specialized, relatively small ancestral shovel tusker with a flat, wide facial layout and a lightly contoured, agile skeleton. It is defined by an elongated, spoon-shaped lower jaw symphysis housing massive flat tusks, densely packed with microscopic internal dentin tubules. Its thick, wrinkled skin is a weathered sand slate gray, an active indicator of highly dynamic and seasonal ecosystems. It patrols open parkland savannas, shrubby river banks, and floodplain horizons across East Asia. Native to northwestern China. An opportunistic mixed feeder, it uses a muscular trunk to secure branches or grass clumps, clean slicing them vertically against its blade-like lower jaw, like a scythe to strip bark and crop vegetation. Its limbs support a remarkably agile, quick-pacing quadrupedal stride over hard terrain. It moves in matriarchal family bands, communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles, readily separated from true Gomphotheriidae by its signature scoop-jawed silhouette. It is best distinguished from the massive P. bulligave and P. graingeri by its slighter build, narrower molar dimensions, and earlier chronological timeline, and from P. tetralephus by its simpler, lower-crested triliphdont cheek teeth, an extraordinary, moderately sized shovel tusker with a robust torso and highly specialized cranial features. It carries an uncommonly versatile trunk paired with unique, highly broadened upper tusks and a matching wide, flat-fronted mandibular scoop build for efficient foraging. Its thick, wrinkled hide shows a dull slate olive or dark mud tan wash, allowing it to dissolve into forest shadows. It is a defining indicator of the Clarendonian age, patrolling the moist woodland forests, riparian valleys, and lush gallery tracts of western North America. Native to ancient Oregon. A dedicated low-level browser, it roams riverine undergrowth to gather soft leaves, twigs, and wetland plants, utilizing its broad teeth to slice and scoop vegetation. On solid ground, its graviportal pillar limbs drive a slow, measured quadrupedal stride through thickets. It travels in small, cautious maternal clans, remaining quiet under cover but communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. Frequently overlaps with other long-jawed browsers. It is easily separated from Gomphotherium by its signature flat-sided, shovel-like mouth profile. It is best distinguished from true Platybullidon and Amoebulidon by highly distinct, unique morphological differences in its broad upper tusk layout and its strict regional containment within late Miocene Oregon deposits. A magnificent, exceptionally robust elephant-like giant characterized by massive thick limb bones supporting a heavy frame. It is uniquely double-tusked. Its upper weapons are utilized for slicing and scraping vegetation, while its flattened, shovel-like lower tusks can project significantly to dig up roots. Its thick skin exhibits a dull slate gray or clay olive wash, offering concealment in the canopy shadows. An adaptable, wide-ranging indicator of changing neogene environments, it patrols open woodland forests, sun-baked parkland savannas, and riparian basins across Western Asia and Europe, famously tracked in prehistoric Greece. A dedicated canopy browser, it uses a muscular trunk to secure branches, efficiently chewing leaves and woody twigs. On solid ground, its thick legs drive a stable, low-slung quadrupedal stride, appearing less strictly column-like than modern elephants. Mostly solitary or moving in loose bachelor herds, it roams widely between seasonal rivers, communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. Frequently overlaps with early true elephants and tetraliphdont Gomphotheriidae. It is easily separated from tetraliphdon by its massive, Flat-sided shovel jaw configuration. It is best distinguished from the ancestral Conobledon robustus of eastern Eurasia by subtle variations in its advanced malar crest patterns, and from the North American Conobledon briti by its strict geographic confinement to western Old World Miocene horizons. A massive, remarkably heavy shovel tusker featuring thick limb bones and a powerful, elephant-like frame. It is distinctively double-tusked, bearing flat, exceptionally large lower tusks, built for digging and uprooting vegetation. Its thick skin shows a dull slate gray, or sand-tan wash. A highly persistent generalist survivor, it is a characteristic resident of open woodland forests, sun-baked parkland savannas, and shrinking riparian systems across ancient North Africa, patrolling the prehistoric Saharan margins of Libya. An active browser. It uses a muscular trunk along with its slicing upper tusks to strip canopy foliage and scrape tree bark on solid ground. Its robust limbs support a balanced, heavy quadrupedal stride that is less strictly column-like than modern elephants. It travels in small maternal bands, maintaining a quiet presence but communicating with deep, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. The absolute latest surviving shovel tusker on the African continent, it is easily separated from contemporary African true elephants and Gomphotheriidae by its massive flat-sided mandible shovel layout. It is best distinguished from Eurasian Conobledon atticus and K. robustus by localized variations in its late Miocene malar enamel patterns and its strict geographic restriction to North African horizons. A massive, heavy-set shovel tusker with a body mass ranging between 2.8 and 7.4 tons, making it noticeably larger than typical Gomphotheriidae. It is characterized by exceptionally thick limb bones and two pairs of specialized tusks, including flattened lower blades that reach up to 1.61 meters in length. Its thick skin displays a dark, mud gray or slate olive tone. It is a defining pioneer of its genus, actively patrolling the subtropical open woodlands, shrubby riverbanks, and changing riparian basins of ancient eastern Eurasia, native to northwestern China. A dedicated browser. It utilizes its slicing upper tusks to strip tree cortex and scrape branches, while its elongated lower tusks are used for heavy digging. Its robust limbs support a balanced, heavy quadrupedal stride that is less strictly column-like than modern elephants. It travels in small maternal bands, maintaining a quiet presence under cover but communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. Easily separated from non-Ameblodonts by its shovel-jawed profile, it is best distinguished from the Western Eurasian Conobledon atticus and North American Conobledon briti by its more primitive, less derived tetraliphdont malar structures and its strict geographic restriction to the late Miocene Liushu Formation of China. A titanic, heavily contoured shovel tusker featuring exceptionally thick limb bones and a robust, massive torso that stands larger than typical Gomphotheriidae. It is characterized by two pairs of specialized tusks, including proportionally large lower blades used for heavy digging. Its thick, sparse skin shows a weathered mud tan or charcoal slate wash, blending into deep canopy shadows. A wide-ranging indicator of changing neogene biomes, it actively patrols open woodland forests, sun-baked parkland savannas, and alluvial basin plains across North America. A dedicated browser. It utilizes a highly muscular trunk alongside its slicing upper tusks to scrape tree bark, stripping leaves and twigs under open canopies. On solid ground, its robust limbs support a balanced, heavy quadrupedal stride that is not as strictly column-like as that of modern elephants. It travels in cohesive maternal herds, communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. Readily separated from true elephants by its shovel-jawed layout, it is easily distinguished from its close Eurasian relative Conobledon atticus and K. robustus by specific tetraliphdont malar mechanical details, and by its strict geographic confinement to the late Miocene horizons of North America. A magnificent, large ancestral shovel tusker featuring a heavily contoured elephant-like body plan typical of primitive long-snouted giants. It is defined by a highly versatile trunk paired with a distinctively flattened, spoon-shaped lower jaw built for precise harvesting. Its thick skin carries a weathered sand slate gray wash, blending seamlessly into riverside thickets. An active generalist indicator of Miocene ecosystems, it is a characteristic resident of humid open woodland forests, lush riparian channels, and changing floodplains across both Asia and North America. An opportunistic browser, it utilizes its elongated jaw along with a muscular trunk to secure woody branches, scooping or cutting low-growing vegetation. On solid ground, its steady, graviportal pillar limbs drive a slow, measured quadrupedal stride through dense brush. It travels in tight-knit matriarchal clans, maintaining a quiet foraging presence but communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles and sharp nasal snorts when startled. frequently mirrors the lifestyle and look of true Platybullidin. It is easily separated from members of the genus Gomphotheriidae by its signature flat-sided mandibular scoop profile. It is best distinguished from the related Platybullidin and Aphaenobullidin by its more primitive, less derived ancestral skull parameters, and from its sister species Taurinobullidin campestre by localized dental dimension parameters, a unique, intermediate elephant-like browser with a robust, stocky build typical of primitive North American long-snouted giants. It is distinguished by its uncommonly short, only partially flattened lower tusks and a highly mobile, muscular trunk. Its thick, wrinkled skin carries a weathered sand slate gray, or mud tan wash, a specialized resident of Miocene river corridors and lush floodplains. It actively patrols open forest margins and changing riparian basins across eastern and central North America, centered tightly within ancient Florida and Kansas. An active forest browser, it utilizes its dexterous trunk to harvest woody branches while its narrow, unrefined teeth crush tough vegetation under open canopies. On solid ground, its graviportal pillar limbs drive a slow, measured quadrupedal stride through dense thickets. It travels in small, cautious maternal clans, keeping a quiet presence but communicating with deep, chest-vibrating throat rumbles. Frequently overlaps with early long-jawed browsers. It is easily separated from classical Platybullidin by its much shorter, unscooped jaw silhouette. It is best distinguished from the true Amebullidin fritzki by its significantly less flattened lower tusks and a much closer structural resemblance of its cheek teeth to the ancestral genus Gomphotheriidae. A large, majestic shovel tusker built on an elephantine scale, it is instantly identified by its remarkable, two-set tusk configuration. Its upper weapons mimic those of modern elephants, while its lower jaw carries uniquely elongated, narrow, and distinctly flattened shovels. Its thick skin shows a dull slate gray, or clay olive wash, equipped with a long, highly flexible trunk. It is a highly versatile resident of North America, actively patrolling lush wetlands, river margins, and dry woodland savannas across the Great Plains and Gulf Coast regions. An adaptable browser, it shifts foraging tactics between using its lower teeth to shovel aquatic vegetation and scraping bark from trees with its trunk. On land, its robust column limbs drive a steady graviportal pace. It travels in small maternal bands, remaining quiet under cover but communicating via low, chest-vibrating throat rumbles, readily separated from grass-grazing mammoths by its flattened lower jaw profile. It is best distinguished from the related Amebullidin floridinus by its vastly superior size, younger chronological presence, and much more derived, non-primitive molar architectures, and from Conobullidin bridi by unique tusk internal constraints.